Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old barn.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 49 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I am your host, Magnificent Stan. Today is Friday. We're doing a special Friday episode, July 12th, 2024. And today we're going to be diving back into the world of professional wrestling. Joining me today, we have our boy, Dougie Fresh. It's your boy, Dougie Fresh from the Chicago Sports Bums. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Got myself a nice little Jeff Hardy, somewhere between Jeff Hardy and Scott Hall buzz going or whatever. I'm about 9 beers deep or so, and feeling pretty good. Are we gonna do survey at some point then? Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
All right. Also returning for another episode with us, our guy Shankster. What's going on, buddy?
Not too.
Oh, we were having trouble. That's why we're starting late. He's having a little bit of trouble tonight. Okay. Let's fill Dougie.
Yes. Holes.
How are you? First of all, I actually want to thank our boy Yumper for the new opening video. Definitely a nice change of pace. I've been using the same one for like a year and a half, so it's good to switch it up a little bit. But yeah, today's episode, we're actually going to be drafting, the episode's called Wrestling with Monsters. We're picking, the larger scale fellas. The prerequisites, you have to be over 6'10" and over 350 pounds. So we're going to be getting some big boys going here. Going to be waiting a little bit for Shankster, I guess. See if he can get his connection moved back. I'm going to move him out and then move him back in and see if we can get that going.
Yeah, as soon as you came up with this idea for the draft, I absolutely loved it because if you've listened to the podcast, my podcast, whenever we talk Bears, I always love to focus on the big boys. So like this was just right in my wheelhouse. Little bit surprising, like when you start actually going in and looking at like people's weight and height. There were a few that I was shocked about that I was like, oh, he's definitely going to fit in there, and then didn't. Yeah. Yeah, and then there were a few that I feel like might be a little embellished, like, So
there's going to be a few where we'll be like, is he really that bad? And it's like, who cares? Like they played the role.
Oh yeah,
John, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Is this better?
Yeah. Seemed like you're doing better here. How are you, John?
All right, I'm good. If I get to these problems, whatever's going on with my computer or internet here, but
it seems to be a lot better than it was a few minutes ago. So definitely on the up and up. But yeah, why don't we get moving here? You do have the first pick, so why don't we get this going?
All right. Like I told you last night, I said I went back and forth on this. I kind of thought I had a slam dunk pick.
I don't think there is a slam dunk on this one.
No, I guess it would be, my thought was like on the pick would have been I guess known outside wrestling. People, if you just said the name, they would know who it is. But I pivoted from that, and I'm going to go Undertaker.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty obvious one. I think there's like probably like this is the first draft I would say where there's like 6-7 different ones where they're like absolutely acceptable number one picks. Probably the most accomplished big man in the history of the business is the Undertaker. I can't really think of anybody who has the resume at that size.
Yeah, I mean,
that was kind of my thought too. It's just the 30 years of character.
Yep. Yeah. And usually with big guys, they come in a territory, they come out of a territory, they come in and fight the biggest guy, the star, they lose and they leave, and then they come back. Like that was the old way, and then obviously the new way where he was able to sustain the fact that he was able to keep the Dead Man character for so long until the fucking Limp Bizkit stuff started in, was kind of amazing that he was able to keep it at least somewhat fresh,
Yeah, especially with how they like almost the whole business model pivoted too, I would say during the Attitude Era, he was kind of like, I don't want to say like a weak link or anything like that, but the American Badass thing, worst character ever, for him,
Yeah, but he made it work still.
He did.
Yes. That's the thing, is he just kind of adapted with it with so many different. I mean, outside, you said American Badass was obviously, a change from it, but just as the Dead Man character, the Undertaker, as we knew, from where it started and just how it evolved over, through the 90s, and then when he went back to it, it felt like it constantly changed and kept it fresh without changing a whole lot with it.
No.
Yeah. Have you guys seen his podcast at all?
I haven't.
It's really good. I wasn't expecting it to be, but he his heart's on his shoulder, man. He's tremendous. Seems like a pretty, despite I have political problems with him, but despite that, you're gonna have especially in the world of wrestling, 95% of them probably have political problems with. But
sure.
Just seems like nobody ever has anything bad to say about him. And yeah, he's actually very funny. He flows really well with his guests, and the guy that hosts it with him, they're really well together. So it's a good one. It's funny though, he does advertisements for Blue Chew in the middle of it, and he's like, when I take it, the dead man wakes up. Holy shit! What am I watching here? The last thing you ever want the Undertaker to fucking say is my dick doesn't work.
I think worse than that is hearing Brother Love talk about it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You got Hulk Hogan hawking vitamins, and now he's hawking dick pills. That's hilarious.
What would you say his biggest match was? Is it the one he finally lost, or is it the Shawn Michaels matches at WrestleMania?
I think it's the two Shawn and the two Hunter to finish it off. I think the Lesnar one was just the shock that he actually lost to Lesnar. But I think his best matches were those. But also, I think you go the Kane feud that just lasted, 10 plus years. It was on again, off again.
I feel like his best feud for me, at least, was Shawn Michaels, but it wasn't the later Shawn Michaels. It was the earlier one.
Yeah,
where when he backdropped Shawn over the casket and basically
ended Shawn?
His career at that point. But everybody hated Shawn because he was fucking coked up crazy person.
But I think the go-to for him though, for anybody, is the Mankind's Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Well, even the first Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels was fucking great too.
WWE.
It was.
Yeah.
He made Foley in WWE. Him coming in and starting a feud right with the Undertaker made Foley.
Absolutely, and they worked really well together. Because they kind of disregarded each other's bodies so much.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Attitude Taker, I feel like I like early 90s Taker more. I like to see him almost break Coco Beware's neck in Survivor
Coco
Series.
wanted to fight him afterwards. But is Attitude Era Taker the murderer Taker with the teardrop?
Yeah, there's two versions, really, right? I mean, there would be the American Badass kind of was in that area, and then what was the other one?
Ministry, right?
Yeah, Ministry
of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have all these fucking wrestling figures. Undertaker was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I have all these figures on my entire wall here. I was telling Dougie, entire wall, and you'll see some tonight. I actually curated some out as we draft. I do not have an Undertaker figure, and I don't know why I never did, but I just don't. I think I need to get one.
Okay, just so we're clear, we're Mark Calloway Undertaker, not Brian Lee Undertaker from SummerSlam '94 that I'm taking.
Dude, nothing hit harder, dude.
I was at that.
Yeah, same.
That was the first event at the United Center. The first of anything, not
Ever.
wrestling, just anything at the United Center.
Remember how pissed he was, or reading obviously years later, but how pissed he was at Bret Hart for going like 20 minutes long.
Yes.
In his match against Owen.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? In retrospect, though, I would think that I mean, I know him and Brian Lee like always had a really good close relationship. They were good friends, but that match was fucking garbage anyway. Like, you give them more time, it would have been 10 times worse, I think.
Yeah, they didn't need 20 minutes on that. I mean, 11, it was probably too long or whatever it was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was the Leslie Nielsen stuff too?
Yeah. Leslie Nielsen coming in looking for the real Undertaker.
So good. They always brought in weirdo, like Leslie Nielsen for that, and then like when he had Yokozuna with the casket matches, didn't they bring in Chuck Norris?
Yeah, right.
But Peyton, Walter Payton was at that one coming out with Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Walter.
All right, why don't we move on then? I think that's the longest time I've ever given for the number one pick. Let's. He deserves it.
He does.
All right, Dougie, what do you got?
So yeah, Undertaker was my 1-1. I have to go with Andre the Giant.
Yep.
Andre the Giant. I mean, just for the Princess Bride aspect of it alone.
Anybody want a peanut?
Yeah.
I got to show you guys this.
Would you like a peanut?
So this is Super 7 makes really cool action figures. And this is an Andre the Giant one. That's the outside of the box. It's the eighth one in the world. Yeah. And then there's the figure. It's very cool, like articulated, but here's the best part. You know what? It has a beer can that you can put in his hand. I've had this for like a couple of years, and I've been like fighting taking it out and like displaying it with the beer can, but there you go. Yeah, Andre was the reason I watched wrestling. Andre, when I first saw him on TV when I was a kid, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like,
dude, when he had those dirty ass chops, oh my god.
Oh,
dude, those things were like the most like unmaimed like NHL playoff.
Hair to go with it too.
Oh yeah, I can't grow playoff beard chops ever, dude. Those things were like.
I think I had all three of the LJN Andres, like the long-haired Andre, the short-haired,
the big afro Andre.
Yep, I had that one, the short-haired good guy Andre, and then the black singlet there, or whatever you want to call that one.
I had the one with the afro.
That was my number one. That's who I thought, like, when you first brought this up, I'm like, and I had the number one pick, it was like, oh, Andre.
Well, yeah, you're taking monsters. Right. I mean, he was a baby face for most of his career, so like the term monster doesn't like really apply as much with him, but still, I mean, yeah. The thing about like the later years with him, it was really hard to watch.
Like the Jake the Snake feud and tagging with Haku. They
basically did the same thing with Yokozuna. They had him tag with Owen because they couldn't do anything else with the guy. They really couldn't. He's got so big. The stories about Andre are fucking legendary though. Like drinking 100 beers and like 12 bottles of wine, and then just walking home. Like
being in Japan and just shitting in tubs because the toilets are too small.
Oh yeah.
Imagine being on an airplane with that guy when he had to go.
No. And
he used to fly back and forth to Japan all the time.
Yeah.
He could fit in the bathroom, but he'd have to keep the door open. Like, Jesus. Especially this fucking guy's got the beer shits, man.
Dude. Yeah.
But he's in so much pain, he had to drink all the time, you know?
Like he was the guy, like that's when I think just transcends wrestling, that you say that name and people are gonna know who it is. And I mean that documentary that they did on HBO was great about him.
It was. It was one of the first times you ever saw like Vince McMahon like show remorse for anything that he's done professionally.
The one and only time.
Yeah.
All right, Andre's a good one. He was a world champion for like 4 minutes, and then they stripped him of the title. Or he gave it to DiBiase.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody's more accomplished than that guy. That guy would go in territory to territory to territory, and he probably made more money in the 70s and 80s than most of these guys make nowadays. Like that's how much money they used to pay Andre the Giant to do their shows. Like everything was based on it, you know.
Like when I really remember like him, like first time seeing him, like you said, got you into wrestling, but I don't remember like the first like vivid memory. If I think back, would be the Piper's Pit from before WrestleMania 3. You know, I think I saw WrestleMania. You know, I remember. I guess.
See, I was a little bit before that, but yeah.
But I remember the matches from 1 and 2. But like, if I think about that, it's like his little coming out of the Piper's Pit with like it was like a 2-week or 3-week thing where he came out and he left when Hogan got that trophy. Then he was back the next week with Ventura and Bobby and
cut his chest open and all that shit.
First, I remember seeing him in I guess maybe Saturday Night's Main Event stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember like when he was feuding with the Heenan family and like he got suspended for some reason and he came back as the Giant Machine, you know, because of the machine. Most racist fucking gimmick ever. They were from Japan and it was Blackjack Mulligan and fucking Axe from Demolition. And they would just, whenever anybody would ask him a question, they would go, yes, Suzuki Mitsubishi. It's like, holy 80s wrestling was a fucking trip, man. Yeah. So inappropriately wild.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go here. I'm going for skill. You guys went with the flashy guys. I'm gonna go skill. I'm going my first round. I'm gonna actually go. These guys were tagged both my first and second round pick. Tag team partners in Japan. Going Big Van Vader first pick. He is the most talented, agile, scary big man I've ever seen in my life. I remember going to a show at Rosemont when I was like 15 or 16, and we had seats right on the aisle. And that dude, like there were bigger guys with the company at that point. Undertaker, Sid, guys like that. Vader was like just a whole other beast, man. And while his WWF run was probably his worst of his career, he still like moved so well.
Yeah,
he did.
He's 450 pounds. I mean,
early 90s stuff in like WCW, or I didn't see any of the Japan stuff. I remember him as Leon, I remember him as Leon White or whatever they call it in AWA. That's what I first.
Baby Bull.
Yeah, I remember him in
Vader figure.
He used to the Colorado.
He
had the Colorado Buffalo's jersey he'd wear in the ring for an AWA.
Yep.
So I remember that, and I remember seeing him come back to WCW as Vader.
Now in Japan, he used to cause riots because I know Inoki used to let him just cleanly beat the shit out of him and pin him in the middle of the ring, and like people would try, like the Yakuza would try to fucking stab him after the match. Like that's how.
We almost spent time in an Iraqi prison too.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, he beat up a Saudi reporter for basically asking him if wrestling was fake, and he smacked the shit out of him on live TV.
Yeah. Is that fake?
Yeah, but didn't they learn from when David Schultz smacked the Dateline or whatever in 2020?
That guy got like $1 million.
I remember when Vader's eye popped out. Remember that?
Yeah, Stan Hansen. Yeah, Hansen's clotheslined him and his fucking eye popped out, and he just put it back in and finished the match. That guy was nuts, man. He was so stiff too. Like you get a clothesline from Vader, you're either not gonna remember it because he hit you so hard, or you're gonna definitely fucking remember it because he hit you so hard. So,
no, I don't know. Like I said, his WWF run was like you're like pumped. Like, whoever comes in, like you've never seen anybody lay a hand on Monsoon, and then he comes in like his first night after the Rumble and splashes him like 4 times.
Yeah,
but it's like and I don't know. It was towards the end of his run, I think. And he just kind of wasn't doing much, and it was I don't know if it was in one of the In Your Houses. He comes out of the ring and he's just like, guys asking him questions. Whoever's interviewing, he's like, I'm just a fat piece of shit, and like, like, what the fuck just happened?
Undertaker talks about him a lot on his podcast, and he talks about how Leon was just like not very sure of himself, despite being like the guy that did whatever the fuck he wanted to in the ring, just because, well, what are you gonna do,
Right.
Yeah.
There was the feud he had with Ken Shamrock in the WWF. Ken was a little stiff with him one night, and he just hauled off and knocked Ken Shamrock out in the middle of the ring.
Oh shit!
It was and part of that too, though, is you get figure
tough dude.
Michaels back when he was being in his dickhead days was the one who said, "No, I don't want to fight." Like, they had their one match at SummerSlam, and then he just basically said, "I'm not wrestling him again."
Yeah,
I think that's where the fat piece of shit thing came from. Is he was actually mimicking what Shawn Michaels said.
Yeah.
But
really
at that point,
yeah.
At that point, I felt like his career had already been on the downward after he powerbombed Hogan on live TV, and Hogan just got right back up.
Yeah, the no sell.
That ended him. That
Hogan
ended
no
him.
selling?
Yeah, he no sold it.
Yeah, whenever he had Joey P, good call, man. He always just pounded the shit out of you if you were in the corner. And yes, Sam, that was the dude on Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one. All right. So yeah, a lot of people didn't know this. These two hate each other, but they were tag team partners in Japan. I'm going the other most agile big man in the history of the business, Bam Bam Bigelow.
That was on my list, man. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's why I was thinking this same thing. Just go ahead.
He was super successful in every company. Japan. He was in Mid-South. He was in NWA. He was in WCW. He was ECW World Champion. He went to the WWF, and while that career wasn't as huge, he still main evented a WrestleMania with Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah,
Andre hated him.
Andre didn't want to work with him. He was
any big man though. Andre didn't like other big guys.
He liked Bundy, but Bundy was the only one.
Well, yeah, Bam Bam, like you said, was just for a 350, 60 pound guy. I mean, just moved like a cruiserweight.
Oh yeah,
Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'm telling you, nothing hit harder. Nothing hit harder than his music, dude. Just bam, 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 bam.
I don't think I knew who he was back when he came to WWE, but they hyped it so much. Like each week, they had the managers all out there.
Yeah, they had the managers lineup, and then he picked a guy who wasn't even with the company.
Yeah,
Humperdick shows up.
Yeah.
Bam Bam coming out the Giant Soul Brawl would have been great.
Him and I feel like there were two guys in the mid to late 80s that were just as big as Hogan, two baby faces that were just as big as Hogan ever got at a single point. And it was the Junkyard Dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bam Bam Bigelow used to main event arena shows against Andre all over the damn country at that point. And he used to tag with Hogan all the time. So like he was getting that treatment. So him and I feel like him and Junkyard Dog could have gone further if they weren't. Bam Bam was like notoriously kind of a prick to deal with.
Okay.
And then JYD had abuse problems. So.
Yeah. Like with Bam Bam was what, 25, 26?
Yeah, he was really young at that point. And he looked like he was 40. Like that's the hard life that guy lived. Yeah. Yeah. I want to mention this comment from Joey P. Do you hear the stories about the car ride he had with the Outsiders? I did. It's funny as hell. Kevin Nash talked about it on his podcast. They used to ride together. Then they started to hate each other after this happened, but they went to a gas station one night when they were going from town to town, and they were in LA. They ran into a gang in the gas station, and Hall and Nash were just like backed up and were like, I want nothing to do with you guys. Like, we're cool.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow decided he wanted to like get into an argument and a fight with them. And like the whole time Hall and Nash were like, okay, we're gonna fucking die in the middle of this goddamn there's three millionaire professional wrestlers were gonna get shot dead in the middle of a fucking gas station and wherever the hell they were. But after that night they were like, we're not riding with Bam Bam anymore.
Before Sam asked, yes, this was the guy from Major Pain.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was the guy they hired to come beat up Damon Wayans. He ends up just kicking the shit out of him.
That guy had the look where he could have been a TV star.
Oh,
Could you imagine like a TV show where Bam Bam Bigelow is like a bounty hunter or something?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
That'd be fucking great, man.
Even like a motorcycle badass spin-off type thing,
Yeah.
That's kind of what he was in, like said, Major Pain. That's kind of what he was, on the
Yeah.
bike. He shows up on the bike and everything, and that's how and this shows you like how kind of I guess over he was. That the shot of when they introduce him is like it's behind him and he pulls off his helmet or whatever he's wearing. It's the tattoos on the head, so it's like that's how they're introducing him. Is like everybody knows who that is.
Oh yeah.
Bam Bam's from the Flintstones, Shankster.
That's my fault. My fault.
I'm gonna pick Pebbles with my next pick.
Yeah.
Or the Great Gazoo. All right, Dougie, let's go round 2, bud.
All right, my next monster, I am going to go with Andrew Vaughn. Next monster, I have to do it before he's off the board. I have to go Kevin Nash. NWO, just that time period for me just meant the world. Before that, with the whole Diesel and Shawn Michaels clique thing, that was just, it was just my childhood. So to have Kevin Nash still on the board and not take him, I have to him here. So,
It's
legit
like,
7-footer.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I don't know if I got TBS at the time, but like Oz and Vinny Vegas. I guess I don't really remember Oz.
I don't remember Oz either. I remember Vinny Vegas for sure.
I remember Vinny Vegas, and then obviously remember Diesel coming in and everything like that. And but yeah, I mean, Kevin Nash was, I mean, I think charisma wise, he was, I mean, almost better than anybody. Just the way he can carry himself.
Yeah, sure.
Never had like a great match. I don't, I guess maybe a couple against. It pains me to say, Bret Hart, he had a couple of really good ones and stuff like that, but it was never like a great worker. But it was just like you said, the size and the charisma makes him, like you said, memorable, and obviously responsible for one of the biggest angles in history.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of funny. Usually, some people characterize his run as the champion in WWF as kind of unsuccessful. But if you look at the guys they put him up against, like he wrestled Mabel for like 4 months. It's like,
I mean, it's not like the same thing. Bulldog wasn't drawn. Not that Bulldog was bad at all, but I mean, it wasn't like he was drawing money though at that time either. It's just you get him against. Like I said, when you're trying to push Mabel in the main event, it's brutal. That guy was just, they say, the shits.
Brady wants us to mention the stripping as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and just how unprofessional Mabel was with like throwing himself around and hurting guys and shit like that. I mean, it takes a special person.
Yeah. That's what
Sam, you also need to remember that he was Super Shredder in Secret of the Ooze.
But wasn't it? Yeah, it was Mabel who broke like the Undertaker's like orbital bone or something.
Yep.
Like,
he also hurt Kevin Nash's abdominal muscles really bad by literally sat on his stomach, and he's almost Mabel's like the most destructive wrestler ever.
Oh yeah.
He almost got fired for hurting Nash because Nash was the champ, and you don't fuck with the champion,
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and even his run in WCW, some people say because he was the booker for a while that, I mean, he was over as fuck. Yeah. When he beat Goldberg, that crowd was crazy. Right. If you watch that new WCW documentary that came out,
I haven't gotten to it yet.
It's really good. It's different. It's different than the other ones. I was expecting it to be a lot like, because there's like 37 of them.
Yeah, right.
But it's more. They got so many people to take part in it.
Okay.
That it's really good. But Nash is trying to like defend himself on the whole thing, and he's like, "Did you hear that crowd that night?" And you hear the crowd when he won, and they went fucking nuts.
Yeah.
People were getting sick of Goldberg at that point.
Sure. I didn't necessarily have a problem with that. I had a problem with the Hogan finger of doom or finger of death. That I had
what they did afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Kevin Nash, that's the Wolfpack one.
Nice. I mean, and the dude's still in phenomenal shape. Yeah. Like right now, yeah.
Poor guy couldn't walk though. Like, I mean, when he got later in his career, I mean, he had horrible knee problems when he played basketball at I think it was the University of Tennessee. Joey P can probably correct me with that, but yeah, he had horrible knee problems before even getting into wrestling, and those don't get better when you get into professional wrestling, you know? Right. Yeah, there was a prostate exam, the finger poke of doom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samuel. All right, Shankster, why don't we go at your next two here? Volunteer. Yep, that was right.
I guess it kind of ties into the storyline today. I got to go Yokozuna.
That's a good pick.
Just for, I mean, I've seen.
That was my next one. So
you see the stuff from kind of. Granted, he wasn't as big as he was when he came to WWE, but back in like late '80s when Coquina, I think he was.
Coquina Maximus. Yeah.
Or
they call him the Big Kahuna as well.
Yeah, but he was like 350 pounds at that point but he moved, like you said, like Bigelow did. Yeah. Just quick, agile. And then just the run that he had the first time through, when he lost I guess it was up until WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that run that he had there to go with, with the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, all that stuff, holding it for almost a year. Well, I guess not quite a year because Hogan had to have his one last run there at WrestleMania 9, and then him beating him again for it. But yeah, just size and just everything. I mean, I remember the Duggan angle where he kept giving the bonsai drop, Duggan bleeding out of his mouth, and all that. And
let's not forget the worst Royal Rumble. The worst Royal Rumble exit ever when Randy Savage elbow dropped him and tried to pin him, and he pushed him up, and Randy Savage literally jumped over the top rope onto the floor.
The worst.
Oh man!
But yeah, and he beat Crush. He beat everybody that was over at the time, and yeah, I mean, what I remember mostly Yokozuna wasn't the bonsai drop was amazing, but
yeah,
when he did that splash, when he run from corner to corner and spin and like run his back into you, that was insane amounts of agility for a guy that was, I mean, when he first got in, he was probably 500. By the time he was the champion, he was probably 600. Yeah. By the time he lost to Hart at 10, he was probably 650.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Scary big dude.
Great. Yeah. But like I said, when he those first from,
the leg drop was awesome too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Joey.
But yeah, those
Joey, why didn't I ask you on this one, man? What the hell? I should have had you on here.
Yeah, he's got some good points tonight, man. Drop the ball. But like that first run he had from I guess it was whenever it was after between 8 and 9, whenever he came in through 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then I said, because I think by 12, but even I'm trying to remember, I don't even remember like 11 and 12, but I think by 13 when it was at Allstate, he was tagging with Owen at that point, and Owen was doing most of the work.
Oh yeah, it was exactly like Andre with Haku.
Just keep him on here.
He would be the hot tag like 80% into the match, and then either he would take the pin or he would get the pin. It was one or the other with him. Yeah, I mean, he could only probably work for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then he had that run with Vader that would have been awesome, but
years earlier,
just couldn't take it. They sent him to a clinic,
Duke University,
lose weight. Yeah, and then they went to go check on him, and he wasn't there, but he was at like a Jack in the Box up the street, like with 40 cheeseburgers. Like it's like it makes you laugh a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, Jesus Christ, man, like get your shit together, bro. And then he just couldn't. He was trying to get back into wrestling when he had a massive. It wasn't a heart attack. It was like a blood clot, like some type of blood clot that he had that killed him. But
yeah, it's wild. I went to a Royal Rumble in San Antonio, and just weirdly enough, I ended up in a cab with a cab driver that used to, every time Yokozuna was in town, drive him around. and he said that every single day he would take them to McDonald's and get 10 big breakfasts. 10 big breakfasts for breakfast.
I can't even eat one of those anymore.
Dude, I mean...
I'm a piece of shit if I do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just think of the cost alone. You know, like, I mean, the money that this dude had to spend on himself just to appease himself food-wise. You know, I don't know if he was a drinker or not, you know, but, I mean, I know that there's pictures of him at the bar with, you know, like, Undertaker and all that.
He hung out with Taker and all. Well, Taker hung out with all the Samoan dudes, like the head shrinkers, and you know,
it was like them, and then it was what the Godwins and Godfather,
JBL,
Godwin, and the two Godwins, and because you always see that with that BSK tattoo. That's what he has.
Yep.
Because they all played dominoes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yokozuna.
But dude, even just like Yokozuna's like B-roll of the bonsai drop on jobbers. Oh my god!
When he bounced off.
Oh my god!
Yeah, dude, he didn't fucking care. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're earning your keep. I'm gonna cave in your fucking chest. Like, let's
dude,
do this.
Yeah. If it was somebody on like those like Superstar Saturdays or some shit, dude, like those guys were taking it. You know.
Have you seen Nia Jax do it? Because that's her finisher now.
Reckless.
It's dangerous. Like, she's gonna kill somebody. She's gonna fall on someone's head.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just reckless.
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all.
No, not one bit.
I used to like her a lot. She never evolved as a like in the ring. Like, that's what if you're that big, you gotta like learn how to work with people. If you can't, then don't be Mabel.
Yeah.
who remember, they just kept bringing him back for some fucking reason, by the way.
Big
Viscera, Big Daddy V, like
Daddy V.
He wore a trash bag for like 5 years.
Dude, I am 100% sure that was just a leather couch. Like, they just took the cushions out of it and the frame. It was just a leather couch. Yes, exactly.
The pajamas.
Yeah, the pajamas. Yeah.
He wore the velvet. He wore like the velvet track suit for a while.
Was that did he Samoan drop or did he splash Lillian Garcia? He did one of the two.
Yeah, splash. Yeah,
Lillian Garcia. All right, Shankster. Let's go number 7 overall.
All right. So again, I'm gonna go back to size. I had to go Sid with this one. Again, I feel it's kind of like Nash in a way that, you know, guy has had a ton of charisma, okay worker, but just you remember, was it after WrestleMania 12? Was that when Shawn and Diesel fought, or 11? And he just powerbombed Shawn like 5 times in the ring. We told him to like take the night off, and
he had the safest power bomb ever. Like, you're wrestling Sid, you're not getting hurt that night.
No, like
Sid didn't want a receipt. That's why he never hurt anybody.
Granted, Sid wanted, softball season off, but so he kind of always feigned an injury.
And if you get into a fight with him, he's going to find the best squeegee he can.
Yeah, and scissors and whatever you need. Did he stab Arn or Arn stabbed him? One of the two. But
I think the answer to that one is yes.
Yeah, but granted, you had the hey, can we start over? We're live, pal. That whole promo,
and then the one where his car gets crushed and he's like, Goldberg, Goldberg. It's the best.
I was gonna go for the lead up to WrestleMania 8 in the barbershop when he's destroying the barbershop and he hits the shaving cream can and it explodes on his face.
Yeah.
Hey, Sid, we're live, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I think like you said though, but I remember the big deal he was, because I remember him with with Undertaker and with Spivey doing, was it the Skyscrapers in WCW? And I remember how what a big deal it was, and Macho Man saying thank God for Sid Justice at his wedding when the snake came out, and but yeah, like the lead up when Hogan doing heel stuff back in 91, 92 when he pulled him out of the Rumble after he eliminated Hogan, and I mean he should have went over Hogan in WrestleMania 8. without a doubt. They should have built him.
Well,
from there.
he didn't pass his drug test. That's why. And then he went into business for himself by kicking out. He wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, it's just.
But
like I said, he was just. I always liked Sid, even when he came after his went to WCW and came back. I had a couple of runs with the title. I mean, granted, the match with Taker at 13 wasn't great, but he was. I thought he was always good and just always had that intimidating size and just the fits of what a monster heel would be.
Yeah.
Two things I felt about him. One, he had, outside of maybe Brock Lesnar, probably the best look in the history of the business.
Oh, yeah.
That guy looks like a fucking professional wrestler. He looks like a guy you don't want to talk to at the bar. If he's sitting there drinking, don't walk up to him. That said, he was a big wimp, but still. The thing Joey P is referencing, the famous quote with the Outsiders, he goes, I just pulled it up. He goes, You're only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Yeah.
He messed up the quote, but it was just.
But he was so intense with that stuff, though, too, when he was giving those promos.
It's just screaming.
The shake. It was
but believable. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
He was believable.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a leg drop, too. He had like a Hogan-ish kind of leg drop where like it looked like a fucking tree was falling on your chest,
Yeah. I was going to say, still to this day, I have not met a person with a better perm than him.
There it is. There's the perm right there.
Dude.
I don't know, Brian. Brian's is pretty solid when he did that. But like I said,
you did insult me right there.
I was trying.
I'll admit his perm is better than mine.
Yeah.
I have yet, though. I remember hearing about it, but I have never watched the leg break in WCW.
I've
not watched it.
So bad.
I can't. I just remember hearing about it, and I'm like, nope, I will not watch it.
He's like, it gets to the ground, and it looks like he's trying to like put his leg back together, and you're just like, my god, yeah. I would. You should watch it just to watch it, but
I mean, who thought that was a good idea for a 320-pound guy to come off and land all of his weight on one of his fucking legs,
dude?
I'd be curious to see what would have happened that night if he hadn't gotten hurt. Was Benoit supposed to go over? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
he was fucking leaving.
Well, that's the thing. He went over. They left like 2 days later, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had to get rid of the title at that point. Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, he was in such shock. It was like he was just trying to put his leg back together at that point. He's just laying there trying to like move. That was nasty. But I will say about him, my favorite work with him was that Shawn Michaels, when he went after the what is it called? His mentor or whatever.
Yeah, Jose Lothario. And then he beat the shit out of Jose Lothario's kid.
Beat the shit out of him with the camera and everything like that. And then in San Antonio takes the belt off. Yeah, like, dude, it was some of the it was well written.
Which one was the one where he gave him the heart attack? Like, was that at Survivor Series when he beat him? And then because Michaels won it back in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, he won it at Royal Rumble, and then he got hurt and lost his smile.
Yeah.
Was that after the Marines beat the shit out of him?
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, I loved Sid. Sid was fun to watch. As you watch when you get older, you're like, this is weird. Like, this dude's weird.
Yeah. But he had, like I said, I guess obviously the build up was, bring him in as a face to build the Hogan thing, but just never saw him really kind of like that. I don't know if they were trying to make him the next Hogan or what they were trying to do with him, but he was always has that heel and was always better as a heel.
Yeah, he was never good as a baby face. He's the guy screams like a freaking lunatic. He's not gonna, his name is Psycho Sid. He's got to be crazy. He can't be a baby face.
Right.
All right, Dougie, what do we got here?
All right. I am going to go with World's Strongest Man, Mark Henry. Might be a little out of left field, but
that was one of Brandy's picks.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Brandy's pretty knowledgeable, pretty good with wrestling these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw him at AEW we had really good seats to a show, and he was hanging out in the hallway, like right next to the seats. It was him and Paul White and someone else, but dude, that guy's a freaking monster.
Yeah. I feel like he had, just matches that held up, and even when you go back and watch them or whatever, there's still matches that like I wouldn't skip over. I would definitely check them out again. So,
I don't know. It was just the way he was presented there when he was a champ. It was just kind of like I kind of got over it with him. But I mean,
yeah,
but there was that run because when he first came his, the Nation run was good.
Yeah,
and then I think because that before or after they sent him back down or sent him to Calgary to learn because he wasn't learning or wasn't whatever. But
I think they brought him up as a baby face because he's Olympian, and Vince McMahon always thought Olympians need to be baby faces. Right. Kurt Angle. They brought him back. They sent him back down. They brought him back up, and I mean he could probably still go in the ring right now if he wanted to.
But you like you said though, these guys with a memory that, like you said, the fake retirement.
Yeah,
it just
with the salmon jacket.
Yeah, but like just stuff like that where it just stands out, like the things that like when they can do that, and he but like I said, watching him just legitimately be that strong and just like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. That sexual chocolate run.
That was great. So good.
Stuff with Mae Young.
Dude. Was the hand fully grown now, or how old is it?
Right, yeah.
The hand's off to college. Yeah. His son is training now. I think he's at Booker T's school.
Okay.
But he was one of the best high school football players in the US. And I think he decided to go into wrestling. But he's a big dude too, like big bodybuilding monster, which is funny because if you watch Mark Henry's Hall of Fame speech, he talks about his kid and they keep showing him and he's just like this little awkward kid, and now he's just like a big monster. So.
Last I heard about the hand, it got a job.
Hey! What's the line from Tommy Boy? 10 whiskey sours, I still fucking got it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna take him. Another. I'm going with another big boy.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you an image. This is how I'm gonna make the pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is me.
1980.
Yeah, five. 1980. I want to say 88. Me and King Kong Bundy at Circuit City. He had just been fired by the WWF at that point.
Was he out promoting Moving with Richard Pryor?
No, he was out promoting Married with Children. No, he actually had gotten a endorsement deal with a computer company, and they did all these promotional stuff with computers, and he was going to all these electronic stores doing signings, and the WWF were like, we want money from this, and he's like, no, fuck you, and they're like, all right, you're fired. So he's like, all right, like, he just stepped out. And he came back a number of years later, but super nice guy. Like, if you ever watch shoot interviews with him, he's funny as hell.
I remember talking about his payoff compared to Hogan's for WrestleMania 2 is just criminal. What he
Everybody's was though at that point,
But I remember watching that with him and Morocco to set up the WrestleMania.
Morocco's holding him in the corner. I remember crying my fucking head off that night. I was like 5, I think.
Yeah, Heenan giving him the extra shove into the corner.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember
Heenan's going like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
I remember they set up the WrestleMania 2 match. So yeah, that's like my first real memory of him.
And then of course you can't ever forget him almost killing Little Beaver at WrestleMania 3.
Dude. So I want to see, was it Jesse the Body? I want to see Bundy put the kibosh on one of these. Little Beaver was asking for it, kept slapping Bundy with his moccasin, and he shouldn't have been in there.
We went to I went to well, I think it was still NWA at that point, like 89 or 90, and in the undercard, Lord Littlebrook and Little Tokyo wrestled Little Beaver and some other little guy I can't remember. I think they put him in put a guy in like Sting paint, and it was like Little Sting or something like that.
Remember that there was one when they did that in the later years or mid 90s was Mini Mankind, Mini Vader.
Yep.
Yeah.
They still do that in Mexico. They still dress them all up as like the popular larger versions.
Lord Littlebrook and Little Tokyo getting mad at Bundy because he squashed Little Beaver.
Yeah, they're all pulling him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Fucking Hillbilly Jim. That guy's hilarious. If you ever see interviews with that guy, he's got some stories, man.
Yeah.
That guy was like fly on the wall, and he was like at every big thing that happened backstage in the 80s and early 90s. And he still worked with the company through like
years.
2004 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole video stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't have 9 hours to listen to Hillbilly Jim stories though, because those things go on forever. If it's like his Hall of
Yeah.
Fame.
Oh, he doesn't shut up. Yep. Yep. He does not shut up. And I do not have a King Kong Bundy figure. I really need to get one.
You don't have the LJN one that weighed like 10 pounds?
Yeah.
The one where he's like,
yeah, his arms out. Yeah.
I had that one. I had all of them when I was a kid. But all right. Yeah, I'll go from the one that terrorized me as a child to the other one that I saw the first time I went to a wrestling show when I was like 6. My dad took me to Rosemont. A drunk got into a fight with Chet Kopic, which was fun. And then the main event was Hulk Hogan versus the Ugandan giant Kamala.
Damn, that was on my list.
So of all of the wrestling figures that I own,
yeah,
Kamala's my favorite. It even comes with the mask and the shield and all that shit.
Hell yeah.
I remember
not the greatest wrestler in the world. He chopped and he kicked and he splashed. That's all he needed to do.
Yeah.
Also, just hilarious when he would come back and just do stuff backstage. Like later years, like was it the Gimmick Battle Royal? He's like on William Regal's desk, and but no, like I remember going to in Rockford, like the like Superstars or Challenge tapings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
watching Kamala wrestle like every week, like 5 times in a night. I looked it up, and one of the people he beat was Jack Foley, which is Mick Foley.
Yeah,
but and then there was another one. I remember when it came on TV watching it because he just splashed this guy off the top like 4 times and got stretchered out. Guy became a referee for the WWE. Like that was like his last match for me. So
I remember there was an episode of Raw where he was feuding with the Undertaker. It was like right before the first casket match, I believe.
Yeah.
And he wrestled like a really, really, really young. I don't even know if he was 18 at that point. He might have lied about his age. Matt Hardy. So Matt Hardy was doing jobber shit when he was like 17 years old.
Both were,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, he was always fun. And then the babyface run with Slick was like the Reverend, and yeah, he was just fun. He was a fun guy. He had a rough life moving down, like moving on at the end there. He had to have his legs cut off, and like, yeah, just not a, and he was like broke, and like that happens to a lot of these wrestlers. But I remember seeing a documentary about him that was rough.
Not from Uganda.
No, he's from like Alabama or something. But yeah, like what was it? Like his name was Sugar Bear or something, or when he broke into the business.
I don't know what one I was watching or who he was wrestling, but it was it may have even been a Saturday Night's Main Event where obviously he had Kimchi, and then he had who was the other guy? Yeah,
he had the Master, the
weird looking guy.
Yeah, the guy that was the head of the Dungeon of Doom. WCW.
Yes.
He was also like the grandpa from fucking like 3 Ninjas movies or whatever.
Like it was where Honky Tonk Man was Kimchi. Was the mask is Kimchi. But that was usually a lot of times that was the Brooklyn Brawler who did Kimchi.
Yeah, almost always Lombardi. Yep, Lombardi was always Kimchi. But yeah, I loved Kamala. He was a fun character. You know, he had a great run wherever he went. You know, he was really good at world class. He had a good run with the Von Erichs. I think the first time he ever lost a match was against Kerry Von Erich.
Okay, I was watching World Class last night. The
Good
David
stuff,
Von Erich tribute.
He was the best one. He was the one that would have been like the Hulk Hogan of the South. Him and Magnum TA would have taken over the business.
Fritz was probably like the guy from Walk Hard. Wrong kid died. So.
Yeah. Have you guys got a chance to watch Iron Claw yet?
I did. It was good.
It was really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really not that I don't like Zac Efron. He did a phenomenal job. I mean, just a real phenomenal job.
He did. Yeah.
You know, was it true to the story? Not entirely, you know, with the other brother missing and stuff. But it was really, really well done.
It would have been too sad if they added the other brother.
Chris? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I had a baby that died when it was like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got electrocuted, right?
Yeah, like you were drowned or something. Yeah.
So Sam, you missed it. This is actually me and King Kong Bundy in 1988.
Yeah. It almost looks like he's wearing the American Psycho slaughter.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, Dougie.
All right. I gotta go Big John Studd here.
Good one.
Yeah. Didn't think he would drop to the 4th round, to be honest with you, but I can understand why he did.
Are you still upset that he threw the fridge out in the Battle Royal?
A little bit. Maybe that's why he didn't get drafted earlier. You know, a little Chicago biased.
I just feel like with him, his run, I guess I'm sure he did stuff before that, but like his run was so short. I felt like, you know, he had WrestleMania, like basically 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Then he was gone till like 89 when he came back for the Royal Rumble as a baby face, you know, and then it was just, but you know, like I said, when you can do business with Andre for a couple years, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
He was supposed to feud with Andre when he came back. And it was the reverse, and he was supposed to go over.
Okay.
But he got sick. He had
Hodgkins?
I think he had Hodgkins. Yeah. And
he was another one of those guys who died. He was like 45, 46, but he looked like he was, you know, 50, you know, way older. Like he looked the same age forever.
Yeah. Yeah. He was good. I mean, he was very limited in the ring, but I mean, he came up in the 70s. All those guys were like that. All those guys were just barrel chested, smacking each other on the back. That's all they ever did, you know, like a body slam from 7 foot tall Big John Studd in 1978 was like a big thing, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, damn near finisher, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean that's basically what it was. It was all like how they looked on, you know, the marquee poster, all that. Jesus Christ.
Big John Studd is a porn star.
Yeah. It was all about look, you know. It was a lot about look, a little bit about the match, at least back then. So
where did I go? I do. So when I started collecting again, like 3-4 years ago, first figure I bought, Big John Studd.
Hell yeah!
I got it at Target for like $3.
Oh, discount rack.
There you go. Well, I mean, so think about it. It's 2020, 2021. Yeah. Sure. You're a kid and you want to buy a wrestling figure. You're gonna buy Big John Studd.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
They totally just target adults now. It's so funny when you go to a store and you go through like the action figure aisle, you totally know they're just targeting these like 40 somethings with, you know, disposable income.
Absolutely.
Pretty funny.
Even those like first generation figures, dude, like, so like the Undertaker, like his just boot color would change. Like those first ones where they like came out. It was like, dude, yeah, it was like gray boot, purple boot, and it was the same damn fucking figure. But I had to have all of them, you know.
You're talking about the Hasbro ones?
No, not the Hasbro's. Jake's.
Oh, the Jax ones. Yeah,
Jax. Yeah.
See,
the Bone Crunchers.
I did a few of the Hasbro, but mostly I had like all the LJN. Like,
yeah, that was me too.
I had a ton of them, but the problem was me and my cousins abused the living shit out of those things,
same.
and they were.
I went through so many rings.
Oh,
breaking the rings.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to send it to you guys. I forgot to send it. Somebody, have you ever seen that show? Kind of like, Is It Cake?
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. I actually, it's funny. I sent that video to Matt Cardona actually, because he's obsessed with Hasbro's.
I saw that video. Yeah.
Dude, immediately I thought like somebody was just doing one of those like for shock videos. Like I thought she was, you know, they were just
even the Macho Man figure was like a piece of fondant or whatever, you know.
Yes, yeah. But so like the first part I saw was just like cutting the ropes, and I'm like, oh my god, they're like so dried out, you know. Like I'm like, oh, and then like I saw it was cake, and I
don't know. Well, let's keep moving here. We're at an hour already. Wow.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. This is good. I like this. I like the conversation. I always like to talk about wrestling. So, but all right, Shankster, you got your last two here.
Oh, I thought about taking a tag team here. There's a couple options, but I think, like you said, going kind of back to Bam Bam style, who a big guy who not quite as agile as him, but in his early days was Big Boss Man.
Okay. Now that's one of the ones where I would say, is he big enough to be considered a monster?
The way they played him early in his career, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, against Hogan.
That's exactly what I think. I was just curious what, you know.
I mean, just his Hasbro figure. I mean, they put the fucking gut on him, on that thing. I don't think he's on.
Yeah, he was very round.
When he first came in, he was, you know, I think he was pushing that 350 or more. Ryan going to get his figure.
Big Boss Man.
Nice. I had the LJN. The sunglasses didn't come off, but the nightstick did. So yeah,
I never had the LJN. That was one that was really rare to find.
Yep, I had that one. But yeah, like you said, he was just like back when he first came in was just like you said, portrayed as that monster with the you know, handcuffing everybody and just beating the shit out of him with the nightstick. You know, his match, but like you said, not that Hogan was a great worker, but you go back to that Saturday Night's Main Event, Hogan Boss Man cage match.
Yep.
Like Hogan suplexed him off the top of the cage. He could work for a big guy. Like he really could.
Oh, he moved really well. Yeah. And he sustained the career because he actually like kept in shape. He got smaller.
Yeah.
He knew he had to keep going.
When he came back, he was a little slower when he came back to WWE after his WCW run, but still could work.
He had one of the worst ever angles with the Big Show where they're carrying around the casket, dragging the casket off. Awful.
Well, what's worse than that is that's not his word. I think the killing Al Snow's dog and feeding it to him is worse. Or
I forgot about that one. Shit. Or
was it Kennel in a Cell match or whatever it was?
Yeah. There's like dog food everywhere.
Yeah. And then the Undertaker Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. Like some of the shit they threw at the Undertaker. I mean, Bundy, Gonzalez, Boss Man. I mean, some of these guys that he just had to be pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ran him like they used him like they used Hogan. They'd find the biggest motherfucker they could and put him in front of him. Mm-hmm. That's like the old way of thinking, and they don't do that anymore. But
I don't know. I feel like they did that with Cena for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Put him
with Khali and
I mean, it was just, it was so much to the point to where, and the reason why I had so much disdain for John Cena was because you as a wrestling fan could go in and be like, hey, this guy's going to beat this guy. This guy could beat this guy. When they put matches out like month after month, year after year, and you look at it and you're like, no feasible way that this dude loses, it gets stale as fuck. And that's just the way it is, you know? And I feel like that's what they had a problem with Brock Lesnar too, because it was like, how do you have him lose when you've built him up like this and he's only like here like 3 times a year, you know?
Well, and then you also have this scenario where you build up the smaller guy and then they reach that apex and then they lose to the big guy.
Right.
It happened to Kofi. It happened to Rey Mysterio. It happened to Danielson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I really think that not now. I feel like the Intercontinental belt has gotten a lot better, but there were tons of years where they underutilized that so badly.
I thought they were going to get rid of it at one point because it
was an afterthought.
It really was.
But
they brought the European belt in, and
that was the angle that they fucked up with when. And I know I'm going on a total tangent here, but
please,
when Rusev was going on his run and he was a United States champion, you want to get mad heat on him, have him throw away the United States belt and bring back the European belt, and just, you know, oh, dude, it would have been so good.
Been like a Lance Storm.
Oh, dude,
WCW thing, like when he won he turned it into the Canadian. Then he won the Extreme Hardcore title, and he turned it became the Canadian Hardcore title.
Yeah, right.
He just like slapped Canada stickers on everything.
Yeah.
You know, well, you look back and like even before like 80s up to Warrior, but like 90s, that was like the Intercontinental was the workers' belt.
Oh my god.
I mean, Rude, Henning,
Brett.
Even Honky Tonk, man, that guy can work, man.
Yeah,
Ricky Steamboat, you know, all those guys. It's, you know,
right. It held weight, you know. It felt like one and two.
The next step, like that was your step. You're here at the Intercontinental. Now your next step's that title. Yeah.
Well, even before like the boom, they had like Tito Santana and Valentine, Macho Man, Morocco could go.
Pedro Morales.
Morales, yeah. Like they had a lot of really good guys that hit the ground, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What do you got with your last one, bud?
I thought about going with Boss Man's tag partner, but I didn't want to skip that one. That'll be an honorable mention one.
That one?
I was gonna go. I was gonna go his other personality is a monster, but
woo! I loved him.
I know. Yeah. Oh God, yes. But I'm gonna go with and it's hard. I don't know. It's like hard to portray him, like you said, because he flip flopped so many times. But Big Show.
Yeah. I'm surprised he.
Yeah, I just realized he wasn't off the board yet. But yeah,
right.
Big Show, because I mean. You look at back when he first, I want to say, like, you know, when he got kind of away from the Dungeon of Doom, but that guy could fucking work.
Bro,
when he first
drop kicks off the top rope.
He could fucking work, you know, and, you know, but it just became so, like I said, back and forth, like good guy, bad guy. It was just so much. It just got so watered down, his heel turns or whatever. But, like, when they wanted him to.
They fed him to Hogan. That was the biggest problem.
Yeah. But, you know, when you want, I remember, was it they're like a backstage thing for the NWO. They're like walking, and I think it was Scott Hall goes, "You really Andre's kid?" You know, man, come on. But
I forgot about that. That's fucking great, man.
But when they like let him be serious, like a serious heel,
right?
He was that monster heel that, like, you know, that 80s, like I said, WWE Monster Factory that they fucking created in the 80s. That's what he was. He was just that monster heel who could do all this shit, you know. And he was entertaining as hell when he was doing the comedy shit. But when they wanted him to be that serious,
like when he was like smoking and like, do you ever smoking giant?
I do. I remember Kevin Nash.
You come to the ring like smoking a heater, like you're like, what the fuck?
And I still remember. I don't know if it was the same night that he dropped him on and about broke his fucking neck. But when Kevin Nash was like had him run up for a power bomb and like put a cigarette, act like he was putting a cigarette out on his back. But yeah, no, I said like Big Show was just, you know, 20 years or more of, you know, just being entertaining and, you know, outside of
he had so many transitions in his career, like went through so many things too. Like when he went to WCW, he got like towards the tail end, or like when he went to WWE, he got the surgery for gigantism, where they like fuck with your pituitary gland, and he was so used to eating a certain amount of food that when he had the surgery done and his body wasn't creating as much testosterone or whatever, that he gained like 200 pounds. He went from like 350 to like 550. If you watch that, there's like that like 2-year period when he got to the WWE to like that point where he actually left for a couple of years or a year. He had gained so much fucking weight because he couldn't, his body was just going through some crazy shit.
Sent him down like OVW but yeah, I mean, you look at those times. There's times when he's like been gone for like whether it was a hip or a knee or something. And he comes back and he's just jacked though. Like he works.
He's a
hard.
monster. He looks great now. He just he can't work anymore. But
yeah,
he can't move.
Fucking, what's his name? Joe Thomas. For the Browns, he was this huge offensive lineman. Now you see him now and he's just like cut up. That's what Show did, from time to time. But like you said, the faith they had in him to put him in there with Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. That just shows you what they had, the trust in him, to the kind of work he could do.
He told Floyd, like, punch me right in the fucking face as hard as you can. And Floyd's like, are you serious? He's like, look at me, bro. Like, yes, please.
Probably my favorite thing, though, that I always remember is a match against Rey Mysterio. When Rey Mysterio was strapped to the backboard for the stretcher.
Yeah, and he swung it like a baseball bat. Yeah. Into
the steel post. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even bring that up earlier. And then Kevin Nash throwing Rey Mysterio like a lawn dart into the side of the trailer. Like, yeah.
Rey Mysterio wanted him to throw him through the window.
Yeah.
At that one. And Kevin's like, no, I will kill you. Like, I'm throwing you to the side here. My favorite Big Show moment actually is at a Royal Rumble when it's just him and The Rock left. And it was like the most unique way of like getting someone out of the ring. Like The Rock just tied him up and then just like fell over the ropes and he like momentum like shifted over. That was such a good move. You guys don't watch AEW a lot, right?
Not a ton, no, here and there.
So when they first started, they had that dark show. I don't even know if they have it now. I don't think they do. But the commentary used to be Paul White and Eddie Kingston. Okay. Those two are fucking gold together. Really? They were making like inside jokes to each other and giggling like schoolgirls. It was funny as hell. Like they're so sarcastic and they float off each other. So it's the best combination of wrestling announcers I may have ever like. It was like Gorilla Jesse Ventura good.
Oh shit.
And I don't know why they didn't keep doing it. Maybe Eddie's like, nah, man, I'm not an announcer. I'm a wrestler. But
could be.
Yeah. But all right, Dougie, your last pick.
Jeez. I'm gonna have to go nostalgia for me. I am going to go Earthquake. Going Earthquake.
Big Ron.
Large Ron.
Large Ron.
Yeah, I mean,
Disco Batty.
Yeah, before Tugboat joined them, and they become the Natural Disasters and everything like that. It was just kind of like the original like fat guy in that early '90s. Like, I don't know, just very nostalgic for me.
The thing with him was there very few people who had a better introduction or debut than him.
Yeah.
With the Warrior, picking the guy
out of the Warrior's back,
the Warrior back, and he just attacks him. Yeah.
He had a great run, man. He went up against everybody, and then he became a babyface, and he got even more over.
Yeah.
He was
one of the.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I would have never thought like him as a babyface would get over. Yeah, I never would have thought that, and it's just a credit to him.
He's a smiley guy, he's
a natural babyface.
He looks kind of jovial, you know what I mean? Like, I think it worked out for both sides. The one thing about him is he's a legit bad motherfucker.
Like legit
that guy. Right? He was a Yokozuna, yes.
Yeah,
He
he
never
was,
lost a match.
Wrestler at LSU or football player at LSU, one of the two.
Something like that, yeah. But the sumo wrestling, like he went to Japan on a tour with the WWF, and one of the guys tried to go into business, and he wasn't having it. He went slap happy with that guy. Like There's a story about him and Haku just talking about like who's tougher, me or you. Let's fucking find out. They had like a slap fight in the locker room, and it was like a draw. Like he's the only guy that like ever stood up to Haku and
It just doesn't sound smart to stand up to Haku.
Yeah.
Haku will bite your freaking nose off. Like he's done that. Like, but yeah, that the funny thing about Earthquake is he looks like a guy you just want to hug, and he is like the toughest dude you're ever gonna find.
Haku, like I said, Haku bites your nose off like that Saigon whore in Dirty Work.
There literally is a story about a guy
It was a bar fight, right?
At a dance, it was like a nightclub, it was on a dance floor. The guy pushed him, so he walked up and he bit the dude's nose off. Like, he lived his gimmick, man. That guy was fucking crazy. You guys took all the good ones, man. I got nothing left here.
Great Khali still on the board.
Dockmaster?
I thought about that. He's on my list, but no, I'm gonna go.
Omos?
I'm going even further back.
Okay.
You guys ever watch Gorilla Monsoon, Russell?
Bits and pieces.
That guy could move, man.
Okay.
I'm going Gorilla Monsoon. He was like one of the legit like 400, 450 guys in the 70s. And he was a rough heel, man. People were scared shitless in the stands of that dude.
Just crazy.
Gorilla Monsoon.
Like I said, I always thought, when you think of him, you just think of just commentary, Yeah. That's what most people think of when they hear him.
You think of him as that or the commissioner of the WWE or I mean, people like us in our age don't, we never really got to see him. My first experience seeing him in the ring was when he picked up Muhammad Ali and spun his ass around.
That's what I say.
Doing an airplane spin at 450 was kind of wild to see too. Like,
yeah,
you know how much like your legs are gonna fall apart if you're that big doing airplane spins. But yeah, he was great in the ring, and I've gone back and seen stuff with like him and Backlund, him and Bruno. Him and Morales, even deeper back then with like, I don't even remember, but yeah, I mean he moved really well for being as big as he was.
Loved to gamble.
Did he?
Oh God, yeah.
No, I didn't know
Big
that.
gambler. Yeah.
Really?
I'm surprised they never did a documentary on him. Really?
No,
because he was one he put up a ton of money with Vince to start to buy from his dad, and it was like a balloon payment or something was due at like WrestleMania had to succeed, and then he had to pay off like Monsoon, and there was a couple other people that he owed like money to because they were kind of there backing him at the beginning of it. And but yeah, he gave Gorilla like he had eventually, I don't know if it was a small percentage, but he eventually bought paid him and then bought him out, so he had it. But yeah, Monsoon was like initially in on that.
Yeah.
Gorilla position,
right?
Yeah, keep time.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he was basically the executive producer of the fucking company. Like,
yeah.
To a certain.
You hear stories about him always coming down like to the ring when the time was coming up before they had the earpieces and stuff, and just coming down and telling him to go home with it.
It's like pointing at his
it's the wrap it the fuck up. Yeah. No, but dude, some of his stuff with Heenan, dude, just fucking
brilliant.
Cold.
They could have done a show that wasn't wrestling and still it would have been successful.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, those two were just good.
Although if you look back, like a lot of stuff Heenan says was like wildly racist.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and he was always the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Will you stop it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brain.
The Gorilla and Jesse, Gorilla and Bobby, they were all, he was just great with and just like I said, I've seen, like you said, just clips of him wrestling, but it's, you hear the stories, but it's always just, for me, it's always just the announcer. But yeah.
Yeah, and he lost a lot of weight when he went in the booth. It's probably about 100 pounds lighter at that point, but
yeah, and the thing is that, like, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Like, that guy, you could have told me in 1980 that he was 60, and I'd have believed you. He's like 40. Yeah. He was like early 40s, like doing that. He died when he was like 62. But he was like 50, like in the late, like doing WrestleMania, like 7. He was like mid 50s. It's like he
wasn't that old when he passed away. Yeah.
Like early 60s. Yeah, but it was like but like when he's doing like WrestleMania 3, he's like 40 or something. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
They always said he had a rough time with the business after. So his son was Joey Morella, who was one of the referees, and he was on the road, and he got into a car accident and died.
Yeah, just like
Joey Morella was actually the referee for Hogan Andre WrestleMania 3. But yeah, I mean, like, the guy lived that business like as much as anybody possibly could.
Yeah. So. But you're right. Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't done like a really good documentary on him yet.
Yeah, he was such an integral part, like part of growing the business as a performer. And then he went in the booth, and he was even more of a performer at that point. And then he went in behind the scenes, and just kind of a cornucopia of everything you could do in the business. He did it. So,
hell yeah.
But all right. Did you guys have any other guys left that you wanted to mention? I know Shankster mentioned one man gang, obviously.
There's a few that just kind of stick out. Like, again, not great workers, but you just think about them. Like Abdullah the Butcher is one.
Yeah.
He was on my worst list.
He's on my bad list.
Not that he was good. Yeah, it's just we already talked about.
Does anybody want hepatitis? Because I know a guy who could give it to you.
Bob Orton.
Yeah, Bob Orton. Yeah,
don't tell the Undertaker that one.
Yeah, no shit. I don't know. Like, he was pushing. It was close, but I know it's like not. But Abyss was a good worker, I think, in his day.
Yeah.
I had him on my backup list just in case.
He's a producer, WWE now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we all know who like the worst are. Like you said, the question you said you had a couple questions you were going to ask, Brian.
Yeah, real quick, I had three guys on my list that we haven't talked about. One, Kane, obviously. Mm-hmm. We don't really need to go too far into him. He's a miserable piece of shit. And then we got Tugboat Typhoon, Shockmaster, Uncle Fred, whatever you want to call him. Mm-hmm. And then my other one, and you guys are gonna laugh at me, and you guys think he was probably terrible, but Bastion Booger / Norman the Lunatic.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen his WCW stuff, is Norman the Lunatic fucking great? He was an escape mental patient. Friar Ferguson, yes, he was Friar Ferguson first.
Okay.
If you watch the early episodes of Raw, he was Friar Ferguson, but then they changed him to Bastion Booger.
Yeah.
But Norman the Lunatic used to come to the ring with it. He used to wear like a beanie with the little pinwheel on top, and then he had a teddy bear, and he wore like a jumpsuit from like a mental prison or whatever.
Yeah.
Mick Foley says that's like his favorite character of all time, and it was a shame that he had to leave and not do that one anymore.
Yeah, it's like the oddities before the oddities.
Right.
Mailman
Jack wrestling.
That's how Jim Cornette spells it. You were saying like guys who could get there, like aren't there yet?
Yeah, current guys.
Like for me, the one that I think is just, and I don't know if, and again I don't watch it a ton, but I feel like he's not been pushed to where he should be is Wardlow. Because I think that guy can be impressive. And I
have a feeling he's limited in the ring, and that's why like. He's good with spots, but like I don't think he can. He's got that Goldberg in him. He can't work a full match. I don't think.
I'm trying to think of who else there was that was. Like people like Omos is just a great Khali, just being big doesn't.
Yeah. I think I like
Khali was entertaining. He sucked as a worker, but he was entertaining.
Yeah. Except for he
kind
had
of funny
no kneecaps.
He became a trainer, which is kind of funny because he couldn't work. So
I don't know.
it's like Enzo Amore starting a wrestling school.
Yeah. Joey P said Cass. Again, not
Big
there
Bill.
yet. Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe charisma, just keep his shit straight.
They kind of pigeonholed him with character wise, like he's very typecast as like the bodyguard. Like they just keep giving him to somebody, you know.
Yeah. One that I feel like that was a total miss, and now you can tell like he's really kind of starting to slow down, was Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
I mean you can tell like his legs and knees are going bad. Like just on his like walk or like his run around the ring, like how he used to blow guys up as he would like run around. Now it seems like he's running a little bit more gingerly and everything like that. And I feel like they just missed. It's
because he never got vaccinated.
So,
no, Braun Strowman, he's like Sid. He's got that fucking look though. Like you look at that guy and you're like, yeah. I don't want anything to do with that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I always said that Vince looked for like somebody who's going to stand out in an airport. That's kind of what Vince always wanted.
Yeah,
sounds about
exactly.
right. I got one that's chronically underrated. Bronson Reed.
Yeah, he was on my list too.
He's what Bam Bam Bigelow was. He's that guy. Like he is that good in the ring and that agile. I think he'll get there. Just needs more. I don't know.
So I've got two more on my bad list that we haven't mentioned. One, I didn't care for him at all. Rikishi. Rikishi did nothing for me. Just didn't.
Wow.
He had so many gimmicks.
Even like Head Shrinker Fatu era.
See, that was
in that era, yes. But like it really, I felt like his character was buried. You know, like it was a tag team like thing. Like there was no individuality with it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I get it. I also feel like his was interesting because I feel like they couldn't figure out what to do with him. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, let's make him the guy who ran over Stone Cold.
But, kind of stick with that kind of. But Umaga was the one I thought was good back then. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that guy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yep. Movement. That guy could move in the ring, and apparently he was like the nicest human being ever.
Yeah. So. But it's like you talk about those guys now, like when you look at all the ones who are doing it.
His son's an MLW.
Which one's his son?
Zilla.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be in the bloodline eventually.
Yeah.
But like you look at a guy like I don't think Solo moves like him, but if watching the little bit I've watched is Jacob Fatu moves a lot like he did. He was big.
Jacob Fatu is I think he's more than any of the Samoans we've ever seen in the ring. Like that guy does some. Yeah, and he got smaller too, so he's going to be able to do more.
Yeah.
Because when he was in MLW, he was probably about 40 or 50 pounds bigger. He's ripped now. He's fucking ripped now too.
But yeah, so those Umaga was always one that I thought was just impressive. When they had the 3-minute warning, or then when they made him into Umaga, he could always just flat out move. It was believable.
Yeah, 100%. He it's a sad story, man. That guy could have done whatever he wanted in that business.
Yeah,
and his hype man.
Yeah,
his hype man. My name is Armando Alessandro Estrada.
Brady's got two picks for us.
Yeah, I got Keith Lee on my miss because he doesn't make the weight. Keith Lee does not.
He's not 350.
No. Wow, I think he's like. I think
Otis is right around there too. He's like 330, 350. So I think he would probably.
You can't see my notes, but it said Otis eat more.
Oh yeah.
Another one on my just missed list. Bubba Ray. He at one point was 335. So
was that ECW days or was that like early WWE?
Yeah, that is ECW for sure.
Yeah, it was ECW.
He was way bigger.
Yeah.
That guy was another one who, like, after they left and went to TNA, like kind of impressed me with like the work.
He had a
like,
good run there,
actually, the work he actually they could do in there.
Yeah,
good talker.
oh,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Don't listen to his
Believable.
podcast ever.
Believable,
Good talker.
but yeah, like a believable heel.
Yeah. Another just miss for me was Hillbilly Jim. He didn't fit the category.
I had on my worst list. I had Uncle Elmer.
Uncle Elmer.
Yeah. Another one, like it's just like I said, going way back. I don't think many people remember that. Just and not that he was good, but was Haystacks Calhoun from years ago.
He's on my worst list.
Yeah, just again,
but mostly because of the Loch Ness run in WCW.
Then
what about the Yeti?
Oh yeah,
Ron Reese.
And then Reese, and then was he the Wall too?
No, I think that was a different guy.
Okay.
The Wall was. I thought the Wall was good. I thought that guy could have done some stuff, but
I wrestled with Reese a few times in the WCW versus NWO or whatever, whichever one. But no,
he was in Raven's Flock after the Yeti thing, and it's not Yeti. I'm sorry, it's Yeti.
Was that the one that came into the ring and like just like
he was like humping him, and then the next month they got rid of the Yeti and he was the Super Ninja. But he wasn't like a ninja, like he didn't know karate or anything. He was just 8 feet tall, you know.
But it's and then obviously Giant Gonzalez is on the worst list.
Yeah, that was on my worst list. Yeah, that was the last one on my worst list.
I have one more on my Giant Gonzalez in a world of his own, man. Like that poor guy was never trained for wrestling. You know, the only reason he got into wrestling is because he had a tryout with the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
And Ted Turner owned the Atlanta Hawks, and he's like, maybe he'll be a good wrestler. There's a story that Jim Ross told where they're prepping El Elegante at that point for an interview, and they're like, okay, we need you to speak a little more eloquently about Ric Flair, not so like plain spoken. We need you to like talk a little bit. And he's like, okay. They start the camera, and he looks at the screen. He looks at the camera and he goes, Ric Flair, I'll kill you. No, that poor guy. And then they give him like the fucking like bodysuit with the fur.
Oh, dude, that was so terrible.
It just ruined it. Terrible.
So
came up with that
if we're going to go by another one of the worst build, if you're going to go by build height, not their actual height, but Zeus's build, and looking up build at 6'11".
He was not 6'11".
He was not, but he was built at 6'11".
Debo was not 6'11".
Yeah.
No, but that's another one that was just brutal. Another one that just missed. I was looking at. Just missed like for either height, was at least on height wise was Bruiser Brody.
Brody was on my too small list for sure.
Yeah, just
I also had the Godfather on mine.
Yes, I have the Godfather on mine, and the last one I have on my just missed list was Blackjack Mulligan.
Yeah,
Blackjack was a big dude.
Yeah,
he was like 6'9", something like that.
Yeah, looking at 6'7", 6'8", yeah. But yeah, you look at some of these guys just going through like Scott Hall is just 6'7", so he's obviously a just miss.
Big motherfucker though.
Yeah.
Hey, Barry Windham, JBL, those guys were 6'9", 6'8",
Yeah.
What I have on my list for worst. Did you guys ever hear about the Great Antonio? So Great Antonio was a World's Strongest Man guy from like the 70s. Okay. And he decided to go into wrestling, and nobody ever trained him. He would just walk around like this and like maul you in the ring. Well, he decided to go into business for himself against Antonio Inoki one night. And Inoki kicked him in the fucking face like 12 times, knocked him out in the middle of the ring. Because he was being rough, he was no selling everything, and then he grabbed Inoki by the back and started pounding on the back of his head, which obviously you don't do in wrestling. That's like a definite no. So Inoki kicked him in the face like 12 times, knocked him out. The blood, like if you go on YouTube and you look up Great Antonio, it's the funniest thing ever because he's just like this big burly dude from France and. Just watch it. It's pretty funny.
So here, and I don't know if you guys even remember this one. This is mainly for my brother because we talked about this earlier. From AWA days was Jerry Blackwell, the Crusher. Jerry Blackwell.
He's terrible in the ring.
Yeah, and I said the only thing I really remember from his AWA was I think it was Adnan. It was who he was. I couldn't tell you who, but just sitting there repeatedly taking his sword out and just smashing it into his Blackwell's head and busting him open. AWA did some wild shit.
Blackwell was a mainstay for AWA for like 25 years.
He was like almost like a black T-shirt and like the black singlet or whatever. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he became like the commissioner of the AWA towards the end. He was like one of the but yeah, he was very round. he should have been riding motorcycle. He should have been riding motorcycles with his twin brother. Like, that's Jerry Blackwell. And if you don't get the reference, I'm sorry. I'm not going to explain it to you. All right. Anybody else we're missing?
No, that's
it.
my whole list is cached.
I showed every single wrestling figure I have. Oh, I didn't show the Big Show. There's the Big Show. But all right. Well, this was fun. I haven't done an hour and a half in a while. This was
get on wrestling.
That's
what we do.
Yes.
Our worst gimmick one went a while too.
Yeah. All the wrestling ones always go for because I can't shut up about wrestling. Like,
it's me too.
Yeah, it's same.
40 years in, I can't stop.
Yeah.
But all right, thanks guys for being on. Dougie, you got anything you want to plug, buddy?
Yeah, we got the Bumcast Monday nights on the YouTube, Chicago Sports Bums. Every other Friday we do a happy hour, which is what I was at before this. Which is why
you made it through. You're not even slurring anymore.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of sobered up halfway through, I guess. I don't know.
Not that you were slurring to begin with.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Whiskey at Comiskey's. You guys know the drill.
Next one's 27th, right?
27th, yeah. It's going to be me and Jason's big birthday bash. Got my birthday on the 20th, and yeah.
Sweet. All right, Shankster, it's always a pleasure, man. Anytime you want to come back on, talk movies, talk whatever.
Appreciate you having me again.
Right on. Well, I have a couple of announcements. So this is episode 49. I kind of wanted to do something a little special for episode 50. So July 24th, it's a Wednesday, we're going to do the ultimate sports jersey draft. So we're going to be picking a jersey from each sport. I think we're going to do like a wild card. I haven't really figured out all the categories, but we're going to do that. I'm going to have a couple bums on, actually. I'm going to have Baloney as well as the intern, Aaron, is going to be on for the first time. So we've been looking for one to do with Aaron for a while, so this is a perfect opportunity. And then Tuesday next week, I am going to be doing playback with some people for the MLB All-Star game. So be on the lookout for the on the Twitters. I'll be putting some posts in there about that moving forward here. And yeah, it should be a good time. And then I believe Yumper and Tony are going to be doing At the Show on Sunday this week. I'm pretty sure. Sunday or Friday? No, today's Friday. Yeah, Sunday. Okay. so that'll be coming around the way, but we got a lot of stuff coming. Don't forget to check out our blog, CitizenPenguinStudios.com. As well as obviously like and subscribe on the YouTubes here. We're over 600 subscribers now, so we're moving right along. And yeah, that's about it here. Thank you, Dougie. Thank you, John. Always a pleasure. And
yeah, thank you for having us on.
Anytime, my friend. And have a good night.